So it's not about being perfect. It's about building a practice and a way of being with yourself. Meditation and mindfulness are spoken about a lot these days, which is great. I'm glad these practices are more commonly incorporated and referred to. However, there's still a fair bit of confusion for people around this. So this is just a short 3-part series on the what, why, and how of meditation. So meditative practices date back hundreds, really thousands of years. Certainly Eastern traditions have incorporated meditation and mindfulness skills for centuries. In the West, our history is far more recent, often taking inspiration from Buddhist traditions. And it's really exciting to me to see this becoming more common practice. Whilst it's not a new field at all, we are new to this in psychology, really only the latter part of last century. So I find it hopeful to see this becoming part of common practice. And certainly we have not invented mindfulness or meditation, but we've been able to look more closely at with research that shows quite definitively some of the incredible benefits of meditative practice. And I'll talk about more of that in latter chapters, but it's pretty clear with the new brain scan technology that we have much more access to, that meditative practices and mindfulness can have a profound positive impact on our psychology and our physiology. Now, just a side note, I'm not saying it's a cure-all. I'll add here that it's really broadly beneficial, but I would ask anyone with psychosis or very active unresolved trauma to be careful about what practices you undertake, and I would suggest you definitely talk to a psychologist before incorporating mindfulness or meditation into your own life. But for the vast majority of people, meditative mindfulness practice is really beneficial. So what is it? Really, meditation is about building awareness and self-awareness. It's about pausing and focusing on being really aware and aware of self and everything that makes up the self. To know that we have a physical body and an emotional experience and a mental experience, and the ability to observe all of that, to begin to know our consciousness to some degree, to connect to the fundamental truth that I am the one thinking the thoughts. I am not the thoughts themselves. And this awareness is very much a present moment focused. As most of the great sages have said at one point or another, the aim is to be here now. And it's a very simple but very profound sentence. Be here now. And on face value you might say, well, but where else could I possibly be? Of course I'm here now. But are you? Where is your focus? Where is your energy? Where is your mental energy? Is your nervous system really fully here in this moment? Because in the West in particular, where we have that shorter heritage of mindfulness, we spend a lot of our time, a lot of our mental energy willing ourselves into a future moment. Or sometimes we spend a lot of time and energy lamenting or romanticizing past moments. So it's curious to actually pause and consider how much of your time you spend anticipating the next moment, pushing through your day to get to 5 o'clock or knock-off time, or pushing through making dinner so that you can get to the sitting down and relaxing, or pushing through the evening to the moment when the kids are in bed so that you can have some time to yourself. There's often this little bit of focus on getting somewhere else, whether it's wishing it was dessert time, or wishing it was Friday, or wishing it was annual leave time, or wishing for retirement. You can see where this goes. The whole when I fill in the blank, then I can be happy. Or there's a lot of postponing or forward planning when we're going to be happy. We could be content now, would be one approach. There's a lovely story I read recently, actually, from this book. I don't know if you can see. Quite a famous little book, and it's a lovely little story on just in the beginning chapters, where a man is talking about how he was approaching his life as a father of two, where he felt that the night was the time that he should be looking after the baby so his wife could rest, and the morning was the time when he was focused on helping her, and the afternoon was the time when he was focused on playing with his son, and then in the evening it was his time. And then he kind of worked his way through being present to just noticing, like, it's all my time. It is my time. This is my time. This is my life. So to be really present in the current moment without judgment really enriches your experience of time. Whether that time is being spent washing dishes or playing a jigsaw puzzle with a toddler, it's still your time to be fully present and engaged and allow yourself to be here now. So the awareness of mindfulness and meditation is not just any form of tick box, I'm aware of that. It's more of aware without judgment and aware without criticism. So instead of wishing for another moment, we can actually mindfully own every moment. So instead of trying to get to the part of the day that is my time, it would be developing an attitude and approach where it's all my time. It's my time, and this is how I'm spending it. And I can be grateful, or I can be fully present. And even if the moment isn't pleasant, if I'm fully present, I can manage it better, usually, rather than wishing myself somewhere else. So what I commonly find is when people start about mindfulness or meditation is that they have quite unrealistic expectations around this. And that, of course, leads to giving up when those expectations can't be met. Many people seem to expect the ability to sit for 20 minutes without thinking, or to expect to feel better, because often I hear people come back and say, I tried that once, it didn't work. And then to unpack, well, what did you try? How did you try that? And we often find these really unrealistic expectations. So mindful meditation, even with a bunch of professionals in a workshop I did recently, I sat there as we were facilitated through, I think it was a 2 or a 5 minutes meditation, and the facilitator said, oh, hands up if your mind wandered. And everyone had their hand in the air. Well, I think everyone who was honest to acknowledge that, my mind wandered. I wasn't without thoughts for 20 minutes or 5 minutes even. So it's the skill to bring your attention back that makes a big difference. So mindful meditation will often incorporate some focus on the breath. It doesn't have to, but it tends to, because this is just a very available tool for all of us. You can always breathe because you are breathing. So you can bring your attention to the breath, which usually will help to slow us down and make us more present. The focus is often on the exhale, which is where the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and the body can be physically more present. And from there we notice what's going on. Generally, noticing without judgment is the aim of the game, so to speak. And for most of us in the West, it's actually very difficult to have a still mind. The mind's it's a bit like a Labrador puppy. It's kind of prone to mischief, but it's good with a task. If you play fetch, the dog will play fetch. So the mind is a little the same. It's like sometimes counting the breath is a way to focus the mind. Like just to be simply counting in for 3 or 4 and out to 4 or 5. And when the mind wanders, because it most likely will, you just gently invite the mind back to that task. So if you find yourself in aisle 6 of the supermarket trying to remember what you want to pick up on the way home from work, you have the option to go, oh, not now. I'm breathing and I'm here now. I'm not in the supermarket yet. I'm here now. So it's a real skill to notice the mind wander and bring it back. And that's kind of one of the central what type practices of mindfulness is to be aware. It's like, oh, my mind wanders, I can bring it back. My mind has thoughts. They're not necessarily the truth. My mind makes interpretations. They're not necessarily helpful. We get to parent the mind and bring it back into the present moment. So it's being present and being here now. The skill is bringing the attention back. Most mindfulness practices generally centered around stillness, but stillness is not suited to everyone. And certainly if stillness is a huge challenge, you can find meditative practices that incorporate movement, and there's a lot of them out there. Most famously yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong. A lot of these practices can be done in a meditative way. That's kind of at the foundation of their tradition. I certainly have found that myself. I've tried all 3 in different moments, and they can be wonderful practices, very supportive in different ways. So meditation isn't just a cross-legged practice, or it's not necessarily involving chanting. There are a variety of ways to embrace this, but starting somewhere regularly is a big help to changing your experience of the present moment, to allowing us to slow down, at least mentally. So what is meditation and mindfulness? It's a practice. And that's a key part of it. It's a practice. It's not something that one can master in a single session. It's something that requires a daily discipline, really, a commitment to yourself. Most people tend to aim too high, procrastinate, and that's where it kind of becomes difficult. And then expect too much of themselves again or give up. To reap the benefits of mindfulness and meditation, it's not about having a perfect practice, and it's about practicing your practice. So if you make a date with yourself to spend 2 to 5 minutes every day in a mindful activity with that dedication to bringing your attention back to the present moment, that's where the change happens. That's in that consistency that the muscles of meditative awareness, present moment focus, releasing of judgments, those skills can really build. So it's not about being perfect. It's about building a practice and a way of being with yourself. And we'll talk more soon about some of the reasons why this is extremely beneficial, and also some of the tips on how to go about building this type of practice. Thank you.